Illman, Mike Beer kicking off a 50-cent pick four at Keeneland on a star-studded Saturday afternoon program with race number 8. This is the Grade 1 First Lady for fillies and mares going 1 mile on the turf. Let's take a look at this field. It could be a prep for the Breeders' Cup Mile. It could be a prep for the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. It could be a prep for both. In Italian, the number 3, Mike, is very, very fast, and she's very, very talented, and she also likes Keeneland a lot, and she looks to be on the lead.
And this is probably her best distance as well, Dan, dropping back to the flat mile here. 4 to 5 on the morning line. Chad has the 3 inside horses, Dan. We're used to seeing him stacked up in these Grade 1 turf races. He's got the 2 favorites. He's also got the clear horse to beat the 3.
He has Whitebeam as well, the horse that ran down in Italian last time out, going 1 mile and an eighth. We'll throw up the all-important Timeform U.S. pace projector. We know where Italian is going to be if she breaks. That's up front. One of the keys to this race, I guess, could be the 6. This Name Is Okay, coming off a couple of close to the pace victories, gate to wire fashion last time out in a restricted stake. It's just hard to imagine she's as fast as in Italian.
Yeah, she's not. In Italian is going to make the lead in here, and she's going to be in control of things early, and we'll see if they can catch her this time.
The number 1, Gina Romantica, is going to be the biggest price of the Chad Brown triumvirate. She won the Grade 1 Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup at Keeneland, going 1 mile and an eighth last year. Now, she got a late start to her 2023 campaign. Maybe she needed her first start off the layoff to Eatontown. Last time out in the Beverly D, they could have gotten very forward with her. They decided to wrangle her back into the pocket, and she ended up getting wired by a pretty good horse.
Yeah, she did. I wasn't, to be honest, Dan, I wasn't thrilled with the rides that she got in either of her starts so far this year. She could have been right up close or even on the lead in the Eatontown off the layoff, and they didn't want that, and she wound up getting tired. Same thing last time. Could have been right up close to that pace. They didn't want that. They took her back, and she ran on through the stretch. I like her 2 starts so far this year just fine without what I would consider perfect trips. She showed a lot of potential last year. She's pretty dangerous in here. She's a great price.
Chad got Whitebeam from Juddmonte from overseas. She was beaten in a North American debut by Evie Jets, but that was a paceless race where she tried to rally from last. She flew home. She just couldn't make up that tactical disadvantage. She came back with a nice win in the Gallarette, 2 starts back at Pimlico. And then in this race with Diana, nothing wrong with this. In Italian tries to sprint away at the 3/16. Whitebeam is able to stay with her, and then Whitebeam grounds her down, perhaps utilizing superior stamina at this 9 furlongs.
It seemed like that was probably the case. In Italian just really couldn't shake her off here through the stretch, Dan, and she's going to hold a very slim lead down to the stripes, but she can't get away from Whitebeam, and Whitebeam, to her credit, is going to get her nose down on the wire, pull off a little bit of an upset here. Another good performance, though. We've seen her 3 times stateside. She's run really well in all of those races. Won't be 7 to 1 this time, Dan, but she could win right back.
An Italian won this race last year in gate-to-wire fashion, parlayed it into a runner-up effort in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare, going 1 mile and 3/16. She's had a very good campaign. She won the Jenny Wiley here. She won the Just a Game, a race that was basically handed to her, and she ran very well in the Diana. If she gets loose, she's the horse to catch. She's obviously the horse to beat.
Yeah, she gets loose, she's going to be really tough in here. I guess maybe the one caveat could be, Dan, at least this is my opinion. That Diana last time, first of all, I don't think 1 mile and eighth is necessarily her best distance, but if she's going to get the 9 furlongs, I think it's got to be on firm turf. In the PPs at Saratoga for July 15th, that says firm. A turf course was not firm. And she just really couldn't shake free there. If this turf course is firm, going the mile, and she makes the lead like she usually does, they're going to have a really tough time running her down.
Well, the number 4, Jumbly, has handled the ship to North America pretty well in the past, beaten less than a length in the Grade 2 Ballston Spa at Saratoga. She then shipped right back to Ireland last time out for Group 1 action, and she was overmatched against a pretty good one. That Tahira has a lot of ability. I'm still curious as to how good Jumbly is, however, compared to the Italians and Whitebeams. Personally, I think she's a slight cut below, but maybe she'll get the right setup.
I feel the same way about her that you do, Dan, but you're right. Maybe the pace will be there for her again. I would just point out that in that Ballston Spa, when they shipped her over, the pace was there for her. That was a closer's race, and she rallied into it, and she just wasn't quite good enough. Personally, I didn't think she had some kind of big excuse.
Always been a fan of the number 5 Gams Mission. She's a graded stakes winner. On her best day, she fires a really good shot. She was beaten less than a length in that blanket finish by Evie Jets in the Ballston Spa. Another one, though, I wonder if she's a notch below, especially if this pace doesn't exactly materialize for her. She's tactical, but she needs an Italian to be softened up by somebody.
Yeah, I think that's the key for her as well, Dan. I mean, she's going to need somebody to make the favorite work on the lead here so she can just sort of make one run into it. She's a very likable horse. She might even be underrated. I think she's actually pretty good, but she's going to need some help to win this race.
Here's This Name Is OK's most recent start at Delaware. This is a restricted allowance race. And This Name Is OK just was able to get to the lead. And when she goes 25-1 for the opening quarter against this caliber of competition, she's not going to get beat. She's going to hold sway by a neck. Now she's facing a much tougher pace scenario, a much tougher class standpoint, but she's in good form and she deserves the opportunity.
Yeah, they're going to take a shot with her here. She, not to be too hard on her, though, she can't win this race. She can't make the lead. She's in way over her head.
New Year's Eve came from way out of it to win 2 starts back at Ellis going a mile. And then last time out in the ladies' turf at Kentucky Downs, she wasn't up to par as the favorite. But that track at Kentucky Downs, we say it so often, it can be a little bit quirky. And maybe New Year's Eve is just not at her best over that surface. She's hoping for a little bit of a pace meltdown. She'll kick late at a price, maybe sneaks into your exotics.
Yeah, that's exactly how I looked at her too, Dan. I don't care about that last race at Kentucky Downs. I'm just going to put a line right through that. Her other races are actually pretty good. She does need help up front. She's going to sit back and make one run, but she is a capable closer. The last time that she ran against an Italian in that just a game, there was no pace at all for her to attack. She still made up a little ground.
Evie Jets is just a hard-hitting, consistent, underrated mare. She wired Whitebeam when she had all the best of it and the plenty of grace in her seasonal debut, and then she came from off the pace in the Ballston Spa. Manny Franco did everything right here. Mike saved ground. The rail opens up. Evie Jets does the rest. They're all coming at her late.
This is good stuff from her, though, Dan, just for the reason that you mentioned there. The trip does really work out for her. She never has to leave the inside. It opens up for her, and she runs into it. This is a closer's race as well. But I'll just give her credit for doing it a different way, because up until this point, she had been a horse who wanted to be right up close, and they just took her back this time, and she still ran her race. She's really, really good. She's underrated. It's going to be tough for her to go back-to-back against this field.
But one of her best attributes is that tactical speed. She's going to play the break, watch an Italian, see if anybody goes with her, and she'll probably be right in the thick of things when they turn into the stretch. We'll take a look at our top selections for the Grade 1 First Lady. In Italian got beat last time out, but she's cutting back to a mile over a course she handles. I think she goes to the lead, and I think it's Arrivederci.
I looked at it the same way. I didn't really want to bet against her. If I do decide to take a shot against her, Dan, it will be with the one Gina Romantica, hoping she gets a trip.
A lot of upside potential for that late bloomer. Again, a late start this year for her. 3-1-7-2 for Mike, 3-2-1-8 for me. We'll see if In Italian can go back-to-back in the First Lady. Good luck.